Hey ladies and gents, it's Zemback, and we are doing some tips on how to make cash in Avorion. So early game, obviously the best way to make cash is usually finding and claiming asteroids, sometimes selling mined material, raiding and trading. You can do this through the entire galaxy, but at some point in the game you're going to want to make steady cash, like large amounts of cash, because things get rather expensive in this game. So the first thing we're going to cover is, of course, mining. Now you can mine individual asteroids, get material, take it to a one of the stations and sell the material. Problem is it takes a lot of time. The other thing you can do, of course, is trade. Now trading, for the most part, when you first start out, you're going to be trading small quantities of rather cheap stuff. You're going to get 50, 100 credits, sometimes thousands of credits, depending on what you're doing. But as you progress through the game, you want to start making the big bucks. And to do that, now I'm in one of my systems here. This is what I call a cash system. All it is a couple noble metal mines and a solar power plant. And I have a freighter here. I have these things scattered throughout I think there's one here, there's one here, there's one here, there's one up there, there's one out here. What these things do is I'm sitting on a trading, what it is a very short trading route. And I jump into these every night, and for about 5, 10 minutes, 15 minutes maybe at the most, I go through all these different trading routes because they're really quick, right? They're nothing really spectacularly fast or long and extended. I'm specifically looking for certain high-end materials. And what this has to do with the systems that you're in. I usually do this in systems that I have good ratings with. For example, these people admire me, these people like me, we're all good and friendly right here. Same way with these systems, everybody likes me. So I'm trading with inside them. So when I put these cash systems in place, I usually do them with inside friendly systems. And the reason is why most of these systems are empires, I guess you want to call them, are kind of based on their builders or buyers, right? For example, this system right here is a builder system. It has all the resources, but it has all the normal factories it has, but it also has some high-end factories. War robots, body armor, vehicle factory. Each one of those produce a unit that's worth about 100K plus, depending on where you sell them. This system over here is a buyer's system. They don't produce high-end stuff, right? Same way with this system here, they don't produce high-end stuff. This system over here, they produce, for example, this has an accelerator factory in it. This is a high-end product. These guys don't have it, that kind of thing. Same way with here, these guys produce a mining robot. These guys don't have mining robots, and neither do these guys. So what I do is, when I build these cash systems, at least for the trading part of it, is I try to stick myself into a position where I'm going to be the one making the big trade. So in this area, with my, right here is the Ruby Maru. That is a small little freighter. All it has is roughly about 25,000. I just took the crew off of it to build another ship, so I gotta get a new crew on this, but you'll see what I'm talking about here. This thing has about, 20,000 for cargo hold. So it's going to carry a fair amount. It's not any close to one of my big, for me to essentially do this trade route, which is going to be here where I pick up mining robots and I take it to sectors like here, where they have 7 mines in one sector. So all the robots I pick up here, I can sell up here. Usually I can pick these up for under 100K down here, the mining robots, and I usually sell them for well over 100K up here. Usually there's a 30 to 40% difference between the two of them. So I'm making 40% plus on the average cost just by this one trade route. All right, so that's why I have these in these cash sectors making me money. I have these small freighters. Same way with here. This is an accelerator factory here. These guys don't produce accelerators, so I can take these accelerators here and I can run them over here and sell them at the their research center, their research. I'm sorry, there's not even research here, but they have a research factory here, or a station. So I take accelerators from here and I drop them off over here, right? So anytime I buy here, they're usually cheap, and I sell them over here because they don't have them. I make a big cash. So these 2 supply runs, or these 2 trade routes right here, can literally make me hundreds of millions for 5 minutes, really. Honestly, from jumping here to jumping out to here, back to here for accelerators, and back over here to drop off the accelerator. It's a simple trade route, makes a lot of cash. Same way with here. This place has an accelerator factory. These guys don't. So I have a, where is it at? Right here. Here's a noble metal mine, XXL. This is one of my cash places right here. The freighter that's usually in here, I believe is in one of these other sectors right now. But I buy the accelerators here, take them over here, drop them off, make a shit ton of cash. This one is the same thing right here. I have a freighter here that buys the vehicle factory, Badr Army factory, Warbot factory. I buy them here and take them up here, along with accelerator factory. They produce all high-end products. These guys don't produce that, so this trade route is very lucrative for me because I can go over here, pick up, 1,000 of any of those things right there, pull them over here, and I can drop them off here because this is a buyer's. This is essentially a builder's. Same way with this. This one's a buyer. This one's essentially a builder. These ones are builders. This one's essentially a buyer, right? So I've set myself up in a trade that's going to make me lots of money really fast, where I don't have to travel around from station to station to station, because once you set that trade route up, it's easy to do almost every time. Now, we've talked about the trade route. These are the trade routes that work really well for me to make some serious, pretty quick cash. Mining part of it is, these are right here are called noble metal mines. This is gold and platinum. These are the most used mineable material in the game. They're used by almost a ton of different factories. They cost $9 million a piece to make. So now and they almost take no material to actually build one. So they're super cheap in that respect, and they're not crewed by a whole bunch of people. But these things make about 4,000 credits every 20 seconds. So, yeah, I'm sorry, not 4,000, about 1,000 credits every 20 seconds, about 5,000 credits every minute. Might not sound like a lot, but when you have several of these put through your galaxy that you're playing in, they add up. And like I said, if I have 9 million credits laying around, I'll pop one down. I'll just find a empty sector somewhere, and that's what I'll do. I'll just put these mines. So this one, I have 2 mines here. There is one. There's one down there and one up there, and you can see all the NPCs that are coming in here to buy my stuff. They constantly buying these gold and platinums. I think it only takes like about 8 hours for both any of these mines to break even for the initial cost and covering crew, and after that is pure profit. You can see right over here, I just gained 13,000 right here. That because one of my metal mines just sold them some material. It's a continuous cash, right? It's always working for you. Once you set them up in a sector, you never have to come back. You just can let them go. That for me is one of the real ways. If you set up 20 of those, they're just a continuous cash all the time. You might say, "Well, that seems like a lot of money," but really, when you're thinking, "Oh, it's only 8 hours," this game freaking takes hundreds of hours to complete. After that, it just makes you cash all the time. And these things are always rolling. I don't even have to go back to them if I don't want to. They just make money. They're real simple, real easy. So noble metal mines, gold and platinum, it seems to me to be the big money maker, at least for mines. If you want to do the mine thing, I do it because it's nice to cover costs of crews and all that kind of stuff. Just having them go, because they just simply make money. If you're in between raids where you're not making money, at least these mines are always turning out cash. Now let's talk about factories. This is the one that, in my opinion, is the way to go. This is a solar power plant. It produces energy cells. Energy cells are average 50 credits, but they produce a ton of them. This solar power plant here produces about roughly 10,000 credits every minute. right? The problem with these is these are going to be more mid-game because it does cost you materials to build them. Plus, they are they're 12 million credits a piece. Plus, you have to be able to buy either salvage, mine, or get the materials to build them. So they take a little bit more resources, but they produce more money. They're also another very simple one. One, because they don't require any sort of interaction. You don't have to get materials to them to build energy cells. They just use the solar power to produce energy cells. Once again, they just make money. Once you set them up, you leave them, you never come back. If it wasn't for these trade routes right here, these things, I have a couple sectors like where I first started out. There's nothing there anymore except for the stations and the mines. They just sit there and produce materials and produce cash, and I never ever have to visit them. Kind of like a guarantee money in the bank kind of thing. And you can see with this much stuff here, there's NPCs everywhere. That's the non-player characters in the game. There's another loader. He's going to go buy some stuff. They're all over the system right now. There's 3 right there, and they're just buying stuff. Oh, I'm sorry, 4 of them. So these, like I said, the low-end factory, mid-game, this is the way to do it, at least in my opinion, because it's a steady inflow of cash, and it really doesn't cost you a whole lot by the time you get all done. For that part of the factory. However, factories can produce quite a bit more expensive stuff. The problem with these factories is that they require, especially the high-end ones, a large amount of material. So those are the things you really want to get to if you want to really make some serious cash. You want to get those kind of factories. The problem is those factories are notorious difficult to produce. You have to either build a supply chain, or since I like to raid, and I raid a lot, I've completely skipped the middleman. I don't build a supply chain to supply these factories. In fact, here's one right here. Here's what I'm looking for. The body armor factory, right? So the body armor factory produces body armor for about, and I got 750 currently sitting here. Body armor, most of the time, you can look for prices between 100 and 120,000. I've sold them for as high as 188,000. Like I said, that whole buyer versus builder, you find a builder or a buyer empire, you can unload these things at an extremely ridiculous price, making literally, a full 10,000 units. You're talking about $1.2 billion if I let this thing completely build up to 10,900 for stock, right? So, yeah, these what make you the big bucks, right? This is what you're going to need to make the big billions in this game. And I just produced this one factory just to produce the high-end stuff. How do I feed this? Well, for body armor, you need metal plate, coolant, teleporter, antigrav, carbon, nanobot. Any and all ore of these might require like 2 factories, 3 factories to produce metal plate, plus mines. This one might take 2 factories, plus mines. Teleporter might take 3 or 4 factories, plus mines. This one might take, 5 or 6 factories, plus mines. The nanobots are the same thing. So to build the supply system, to build all this stuff, requires billions and billions of credits and lots of running around, and you will spend a long time. I did this in one other of my galaxies to actually build a supply chain, and it was literally 20 hours of going around, getting asteroids ready, moving materials around, all that kind of stuff. Eventually, finally getting it up and running. It just took forever, and it cost me tons and tons of credits to make this work, just so I could produce 1 body armor unit for 100K. So I've streamlined it. I've completely gone away from doing these supply chains to build all the initial parts to build body armor. What I do, for the most part, is I raid. This, for example, is you've seen this ship several times. This is my primary raider, Durandal, and I have an Excalibur 2 with it. This ship has a ton of cargo space, around 70,000 normally. Right now I'm sitting with all the extra cargo area on it, 337,000, because I got into a good position where I was mining or I was raiding some really good areas, right? I had a lot of ships in there, and I was mining, or I was completely and utterly getting everything I wanted. So I just kept piling on cargo areas. But in that sense, we'll look at exactly what I got out of the deal. Like I said, I got ton medical supplies, 33,000 medical supplies. There's a lot of stuff I haven't cleaned yet, but there's also stuff that a lot of the stuff, like for example, copper, I use in one of my one of my factories. I need copper, right? Same way with power units, I need power units, right? So this is what supplies my factories. Instead of building supply chains, I simply raid for it. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. Whoops. With the body factory right here, we just saw that. So trade goods right now, I'm currently sitting, even though I haven't cleaned a bunch of this stuff, this is going to be pure profit. This is stuff I have on my ship right now that I can use to build body armor, and this costs me nothing. So every body armor that's completed using this stolen stuff is free. This is pure 100% profit. I don't have to buy anything. All I do is steal it, right? So, same way with, where is that other one? That's the body armor. There's the computer component factory, right? And this is the other one I usually use quite a bit. It produces displays, targeting cards, and processors. These are about 7K a piece, but it produces quite a bit of them. And they use wire, microchips, semiconductors, copper, platinum, and gold, which you can see that I all have currently on my ship. Look, my wire's down a little bit here, so I'm going to be able to drop off. I have 5,662 wire that I stole, and this is what I use to supply this thing to build the high-end products that I can sell for pure profit. So like I said, you can do the whole system chain thing to get the stuff to your product, but for me, it's just quicker to steal it because I'm already stealing this stuff anyway, and that's why I keep it here. So that's one of the other things you really have to remember is when you're doing this pirating, or if you want to use this system for building up your, you want to do these pirated factories, you have to have a depot here. This is actually my depot right here. This has about 3 million units for space, for cargo, and other stuff I don't use, that I don't use for the factories right away. I dump it in here, or if I'm not selling it to someplace else, here's I have 90,000 steel. There's 51,000 plasma cells. There's 35,000. This is where I keep the stuff when I build my turrets. This is the stuff I keep to supply my factories. This is the central depot of all this stuff. 11,000 ammunition, 25,000 electromagnets, 105,000 energy cells. This stuff is all. So after I take this stuff over here and I drop it off at the factories, I take out the mining robots that I'm going to go take and sell somewhere else, and anything that's left over here gets transferred over to the Home Depot here. So anti-grav units, some of these are going to end up in factories. But yeah, this is how I keep things separated between what I'm going to use for my own systems and my own turrets, and what I'm going to get rid of and sell. So that's, to me, the simplest, fastest way to use these factories. You can build the big high-end factories. You just don't have to build the supply chains. You can just simply raid for them and be done. So this is the factory part of it, with a little bit of a raiding involved, at least in my opinion. Probably a more efficient way of doing it. When I do fill these depots up here, I do have, you saw the freighter. I have these I have two freighters here. This is what I use to run materials between all the factories that I have. They just come back to the Home Depot, the central depot, I guess, pick up the materials, and I run it out to the factory quick, drop it off, and they're usually good to go for 5 to 10 hours while they produce more materials. So I only have to do this very rarely, jump back and forth. So that's the factory part of it. We did the mining part of it, and we did the trading part of it. Now let's do the raiding part of it. This is the best part, in my opinion, because I like to raid. Now, we've talked about, like I said, the builders and the buyers and all that kind of stuff. In pirating, I found the 3 best systems if you really want to be a pirate and really make a lot of cash. Now, this is just the cash part. This is to make the big chunks of chains. If you're going to pirate to keep your factories running, then you got to kind of change it up. Those ones you want to go after sectors that have a lot of stuff in it. Like this one right here would be a good sector to go pirate ships in, because you're probably going to get a plethora of different kind of materials that you're going to use. However, if I want just pure cash, I want billions and billions to build some stuff, I'm going to pirate the systems that have the big products in them. Like, for example, the research station doesn't produce anything. However, it consumes, this is the highest, easily the highest one for amount of, like high-end products. The research station, accelerator factory, anti-gravity, all that stuff is here, right? So all the ships that are coming to the research station are usually carrying high-end products. So this is essentially this one right here is where I usually pirate quite a bit because it's always got high-end stuff coming in it. I can literally walk out of there with 2 to 3 billion sometimes, depending on how much spawns in that system. Same way with this one down here. Where are you at? Not the casino, not the trading post, the military outpost. Once again, lots of high products go in there. The military post doesn't produce anything, it just consumes. So anything coming into that post is going to have that. So you want to be always on the lookout for these kind of systems, because these are the best places to raid, right? This is the places that you're going to get the most amount of cash for what you're doing with. So we're going to jump into, and I'll show you what I'm talking about on this one. Let's see here. First, we're going to see what just jumped into sector here. Small group of alien warships here. We're going to let the system defenses destroy it before I leave, because that's happened to me before, where I left and they hadn't destroyed them, and then eventually I lost the station because I wasn't in the system. So we're going to run back to the galaxy map here, and we're going to go up to my favorite place to actually to raid, which is a mining system. Mining system, that kind of stuff. Once again, a high-end system that you want to be constantly looking out for, and you'll find them everywhere. Here, this one's got 4. You saw on the other one for my trade routes had 7. This one up here, this one's got 4. I like to raid this one too on my way back. There's another one right there with 4 in it. That's another great place to raid. All these places, there's an aluminum mine with 2. There's 2 mines there. Yeah, these are places I like to raid because they have these mines in them, which all use high-end stuff. And of course, for the material side of it, if I do raid a freighter leaving with them, I get gold, platinum, copper, that kind of stuff, which I all use in my factories. So it's like these are great systems to find. Ones these that are totally, with a lot of mines in them. Also, since I raid this one so often, I actually park a salvage carrier here. This salvage carrier has 120 salvage fighters on it, right? So while I'm over here, for example, this one right here, this is a heavy cargo carrier. We're going to see if he's got any cargo with him. He doesn't have any cargo, so we're not going to mess with him. This one, yeah, it's a salesman. He doesn't usually have what I want, but let's see who else is there. Oh, there's a cargo hauler. How about this guy? He's got cargo. So we know he's here, so what we're going to do is we're going to put our salvage carrier on notice that we're in system. We're going to put him to salvage. So anything I blow up now, he's going to send out salvage fighters. This is how I get a lot of my material. If you've noticed, I'm usually in the tens of millions of material, probably because I salvage the shit out of every sector that I get into. Okay, so we got this guy here. I got, this is actually carrier I brought over here for this video. I don't have a lot of, I do have some pretty powerful fighters, but I don't have a complete wing of them yet. So we're going to use, so we know he does have material on board. We're going to see what he got. And we'll drop everybody off here. There we go. Come on. Once they start dropping everybody. Okay, so we've destroyed him. And he should have, so now, by now, make sure he's listening. Doesn't look like he's spouting any salvage fighters. And I just leave him here in system because he's going to clean up all my mess, right? What does he got here? There's a big, he didn't have anything, I think. Nope, he didn't have anything. So, yeah, so this being a carrier, I don't have any actual out weapons. So I have to rely on my my fighters here. So they've blown that one up there. It looks like it's got a couple boxes floating around here. We're going to go find out. I've got into this sector where I've made up to like I've probably harvested 3,000 mining robots out of here. So this is usually pretty lucrative systems. Anytime there's a mine in them like this, But yeah, they definitely work it out here pretty quickly here. So we got apparently some vassals here. It's all right. We'll send the fighters over there. These guys can go mess them up pretty quick. Yep, just like that. That's what happens when you get these high-end railgun fighters. They literally just go right through everything. It's gonna be pretty spectacular when I finally get a full force of them. So here, my salvage fighters have finally showed up here, and you see they're starting to rip apart the wreck. So when I get over here, whatever cargo is exposed here, they're ready to go. So like I said, not only am I mining for materials, but I'm also, making some serious nice cash by knocking off these. Oh, there we go. Gained 144 mining robots. We're at 230 mining robots. What else we got in there? There's still some pieces left. They're still gonna finish those off. They're at 230 here. We'll pull our fighters back in. There we go. So now let's pick up the rest of the cargo, whatever's left. I don't usually use carriers to do this. I just happened to be, I thought, yeah, let's take it out for a spin because I got these new fighters on here. So I actually had to add a cargo bay to this here just for the video. But, I'm going to pick up, so I picked up all my fighters here. Those are my salvage fighters from the other carrier. Like I said, they're just picking up the scraps. So these are actually, like I said, really nice because not only am I, getting the stuff from the, making the money from the stealing the robots and stuff, but I'm getting all the material by using these salvage fighters. So, come on, boys. And they literally just pick the whole system clean. Any chunks of ships laying around, they will pick them up and completely destroy them into their necessary little parts here. So, they don't have anything else to go after because I haven't blown any ships up here. I'm just waiting for the last of the mining robots to return to my ship. Or did I already get full? Ooh, I got full already. Sorry. That's the problem. We're just going to add a little bit more cargo area here to pick up the last of the robots. Like I said, I don't normally use this ship for there we go. We'll add that. So we're going to pick up the rest of the mining robots. There we go. Come on, boys. I'm going to end up with about 609 so far. So now these robots are not stolen. So I'm going to end up with probably, these are 100K plus robots. So it works out pretty sweet for me. I'm not even sure how I'm eventually going to get out of this deal. But, like I said, I've picked up over 3,000 sometimes, depending on how long I stay in system and how many ships I blow up. This is just a win-win for me all the way around because, like I said, I can stay in here for an hour and just gain a huge amount of material plus the robots that I'm going to be stealing here. So I'm just going to finish this a little bit up here just to show you, with just this little bit of raid here. I was only in here for probably 5-10 minutes. I'm going to walk out of here with, probably 150 million in stolen shit by the time I'm done here. When all this robots finally load up here. I still have enough empty space. And yeah. So with that said, I want to thank you guys for watching again. I know some of these videos probably get a little long. There we go. Picked up some more. Should be picking them up. There we go. I didn't have the stolen part on of it, so that's why I wasn't picking them up. Sometimes you got to make sure you check that. So I'm going to end up with, by the time I get done here, 633 mining. No, average credit's 145,000, and then I got 95 stolen. So these ones I'll have to clean before I can sell them. But these 633 are pure profit, right? So yeah, this is the way I do for the rating part of it. Make sure you always are looking for those systems. For the most part, are going to give you the best, most of the credits you can possibly get in the quickest amount of time. So with that said, guys, Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys later.